Hi everyone, my name is Vishal Singh and I'll be teaching you chess today. So in the previous class, we had learned how to utilize the rook in an actual game, how to find the openings, how to find the weak point and attack using and creating an attack with the rook basically. So I also gave you a quick revision about the basic movement of the rook. So we'll be doing the same today but with a king. So now, king, as I've mentioned multiple times, is the most important piece on the chessboard. It is not the most powerful piece, but is the most important piece because if you lose your king, if your king is captured, what's the point of playing? That is basically a checkmate. You lose the game. All right. So always remember, king is the most important piece, and always safeguard your king. But so today we'll be learning how to create an attack using a king. So this is actually quite useful in the end game when you guys and both you and your opponent has lost have lost a both lot of pieces. You don't really have a lot of pieces. You've only left with a few pawns, maybe a a rook, a bishop, or something. And you finally have to use your king itself to take the game ahead, move the game ahead. So this is when it comes when this will be useful to you guys. So we'll be learning how to create an attack using a king. So let's start for today. Okay. So again, a quick revision how the king moves. It can move in any direction, go up, down, left, right, diagonal, all the four corners on the board. It's cool. So the basic thing, we can capture this in any way. We can move to e4, e5, and then e6, or we can just go d4, d5, and then e6. Okay, anything is cool because all the possible ways are just going to take three moves. So we'll move ahead with this one. Cool. This is a quick revision. Now here in this case, if you were to go to d2, again think of a pause the video, think of a way, and then come back. If you were to go to d2, that would be a wrong move because that will take you a one additional move. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 5. Or if you go 1, 2, 3, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The best would be to directly capture the star at e2. That will only take you 4 moves. Very simple again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. See? So let's go ahead. 1, 2, 3, and then finally 4. King really doesn't have a lot, to revise because it's quite clear. It can move one block at a time and in any direction. So that is how. Now you have 6 stars over here. If you were to again pause the video, think of a way and come back to find the most efficient way. So if you were to go for these 3 stars first, you will be again using an addition. You want me to do it for you? See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. It took you 9 moves. All right. If you were to go for these 3 stars in the beginning, it will only take you 8 moves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So the efficient way would be to capture this star at d6 first. So now that we know the answer, let's move ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, king to e3, king to f3, and then king to finally g4. All right. So yeah, so that was all for about the revision. Now let's head to the puzzle part that I've made for you guys. So you're playing as white over here. Remember, you're playing as white. Now all this is how endgames usually looks like. See, a lot of your pieces have been gone. So in this, you are playing as white. You have to attack using your king only. Now there are 2 options you can attack. There are again, find the free pieces that are not supported. This isn't supported by anything. This isn't supported by anything. So you can either go play your king to b5 and directly attack the knight, but the better option again would be to go at b7. Why? Because there are 2 unprotected pieces near the king, 1 and 2, and if your king is at b7, you'll be simultaneously attacking both of them. All right, this is called fork. Fork. A fork, the cutlery fork. Fork basically it has more than one hands to poke. So what this means is by you are utilizing one piece, but simultaneously attacking two pieces at the same time. Cool. Now I agree. The pawn over here is protected by the knight. It is in the attack range of the enemy knight and is protected. But if you were to move your knight over here, if if it wants to save the knight, it has to move the knight away, right? Because knight is obviously worth a lot more points than the pawn will ever be. So any sane or any logical opponent would probably move the knight away. Suppose the any opponent does move the knight away to here to give you a check, you can still capture the pawn and be in advantage by 1 point. Simple. So let's move ahead to the next one. Again, you're playing as white, and this would be a very good situation. This is again an end game. You guys have equal number of pawn, 4 pawns each, and one bishop each, and obviously one king, which both of you will have. So the best possible answer, again, pause the video. Please think. I want you guys to think before I just say all the answers out to you, because there's no point if I keep answering all of your questions. Pause the video, think of a way, and then please come back. That would really help you guys. So now the best possible way would be to best possible, forget the best possible, the only move, because king, as I said, can move only one block at a time. So it is going to attack the piece that is closest to the king. The piece that is closest to the king being the enemy bishop. So your move will be king to g2. Correct. Now, if you look closely, the bishop over here is stuck. It cannot move out. It can either only go here, because it will need two moves to get away. So it's either going at g1 or g3. Correct. So if even if it were to capture the g3, you'll lose a pawn, but the enemy will lose a bishop. So how many points was the bishop worth? 3. How many point was the pawn worth? 1. You will be in advantage by how many points? 2 points. Correct. So this is how you utilize your king in the end game. Now again, you are already in advantage by a pawn over here. So how would you attack the rook? Just you can just bring your king down to d2. That is all you can possibly do in the end game. That is how end games usually work. Because what you're trying to do is get your pawn down to make another piece, to increase your points, to do a checkmate to the opponent, right? So that is how you get this rook out of the way using your king. Because if you were to move your rook away, the enemy rook will just capture our pawn, and then that's it. The game is done. It's basically a stalemate then. So now again, you're playing as white. This is very simple. You just have to capture this pawn, and the move will be, king to d5. Very simple again. Again, the easiest piece I would really say would be the king. The trickiest, the piece that which will really bother your mind would be the knight. It has a really strange way of moving, and I'll be teaching that soon in the next video, the video after that. So we'll look out for the knight. It's really hard. So you're playing as black over here, okay, and you don't really have any pieces. So all you can do is attack the enemy piece, and that is the best is king to f6. So you're playing as white over here. The closest enemy piece to you would be the pawn and the knight, right? But the pawn is being supported by the king. So is it worth moving towards the pawn? No, right? But that would be a waste of a move. So the best possible move to creating an attack using a king would be king to d7. Cool. Moving on to the next one. Again, the closest piece to your king is the bishop, correct? So the best move again would be king to g2. Now again, the closest and the unprotected piece, because this is protected. So moving again towards the pawn at g6 would be a waste of a move. This is not protected, right? Even if this were to come down, you can just directly capture using your king or your pawn. So that would be in your benefit. So what you can do is king to d5. That would be a best move. Even if the enemy king were to, try come near this pawn at d6 and try to protect it, it still couldn't make it in time. So you'll be winning this. Now moving on to the next one. So just a second. Yeah. Again, you're playing as white again. So the best move to, because this is going to, create a queen when it reaches to b1. When the pawn is at the bottom, so you'll be creating b1. So you have to avoid that. To avoid that, you have to attack this pawn, get rid of this. So you play king to c2. And this tries to become a queen, but then as soon as it becomes a queen, it's your turn to play. So you just capture the pawn. And that is all. That this was a close call. Never let your pawn, the enemy pawn cross over and become something. You will be in a very bad situation when that happens. Yeah, again, this your king is in a check because of the enemy knight, and that is also the piece that is closest. You know how I taught you CPR. You don't have, you cannot capture this, right? You cannot protect your king right now using any other piece. All you can do is run, but you can run and attack at the same time this time. See, you were not able to protect, but you were able to attack. Note the difference. So that this was all about how you can use a king, how it can be utilized in the end game. So that was all for today. This was a very brief video, short and brief. So that was all about today. You learned how to attack using a king. I gave you a quick revision about the movement of the king. That was all for today. And just a second, I'll tell you what we'll be doing in the next class. So that would be fun. Okay. All right. So we'll be doing attack with the we'll be doing attack with the king in the next one. Attack with the queen. So that is going to be interesting. Hope you guys had a good time. Have a nice day. Bye bye. Thank you.